Arch Advocate Podcast, Wednesday, April 17th. Welcome back to the show. Please do hit subscribe, would you? If you're watching on YouTube, listen, are you into podcasts, at all? Do you like listening to them? Like when you're driving down the road or going for your run? This is a daily thing, man. There's links down below. You can click on them. iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever, man. Whatever you're into. You can click on it and subscribe. Please do that. And if not, if you're just watching on YouTube, please make sure you hit subscribe on that thing. The 2020 election is, man, it's so close. 2020, by the way, is not the year in which the elections are going to happen. 2020 is the number of Democrats who are running for president. 2,020 of them. And this is amazing. This is it's like a telltale of where we're at as a civilization. So who's number one in the Democrat lineup? All the Democrats running for president. Who's number one? Easily. Well, if you take it by, I like to do this, right? Just look at the numbers, right? Look at the math, or a better way of putting it is follow the money. Right? The money will tell you everything you need to know. You know, it doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. And clearly, when it comes to who's got the staying power of money on their side, by a long shot, it's Bernie Sanders. He's number one, right? And I'm actually kind of glad about that. And I'll circle back around that. Like if something happened where there were only two Democrats as options to vote for, like Donald Trump wasn't there, and there was no other Republican. It was just down to Bernie Sanders and somebody else. Pick anybody. I would choose Bernie Sanders. You want to know why? Because he is a wealthy entrepreneur. Let me circle back around to that. So Bernie Sanders is in the front. He's got close to $20 million that have been donated to him. And he was just on Fox News. This is the thing. So he's on Fox News, and they ask him, how'd you get so rich? You rich bastard. You're over here talking about socialism. How'd you get so rich? How come you got 3 homes? Why do you drive a sick-ass Audi? You know, a sick-looking Audi. I would love to have that car. It's a beautiful car. It's red. He got it red. You know? Why is it that a guy that wears Birkenstocks and combs his hair with a balloon, why are you driving that car? Are you trolling for ass on a Friday night? Driving down Main Street? Right? Cruising the mall for chicks? You know what I mean? What are you doing with that car, old man? With your crazy hair? And the spit bubbles on both sides of your baloney-looking lips? He's got baloney lips, by the way. What do I mean by baloney lips? Do you guys remember in Rocky 1? The first Rocky, what was it? Yeah, it's just Rocky, right? Do you remember Apollo Creed's manager? Remember that guy? You get that, guys? That's baloney lips. When your lips, your actual facial feature looks like baloney. And I say it that way because that's it's not uncommon. I mean, it's certainly not, most people don't have that. But Bernie Sanders has baloney lips. And he's got that thing where he's got spit bubbles, the little reservoir of spit bubbles, that white cauliflower-looking spit bubble patch. He's got that on both sides of his baloney lips. You know? It's dude, you've been in politics a long time. You know that you have to look the part. You're a politician. You have to look the part. Dress for success, man. You know? Feel good, look good. Look good, feel good. Dress, look, what's that old saying? But dress for the position that you want, don't dress to your station, I guess is the idea. Dress to where you want to be, if I'm a poor man and I want to work at a bank, it's I need to go buy a suit. Not because I wear a suit every day. I'm poor. I live in a shack. But because I want to work in a place where, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to look the part. And this guy's walking around, his hair's all fluffy, and he's got he doesn't have the presence of mind to take a napkin and dab his mouth. Now, look, public speaking, man, it'll dry your mouth out. For sure. Talking in front of people is a nerve-wracking thing for most people. And it'll make your mouth go dry, and you're going to get little spit bubbles, but you have to have the presence of mind. Like, wipe your mouth off, dude. You look like a mouth breather from, I don't know, whatever the people do meth in big cities. You look like a mouth breather. Dab the side of your mouth, you freaking. Anyways, so he's on Fox News. They're doing a little town hall, and they're asking him, like, how'd you get so rich? He's like, oh, well, I wrote a book about socialism. I made $500,000 last year. If you want to make that kind of money, you should write a book. It's like, okay, so you're an entrepreneur. You made $500,000 last year from a creative work that came out of your soul. Other creative works that Bernie wrote about was what was that? There's that thing that he wrote about how what women truly want, or what women truly fantasize about, is being gang raped. He wrote that. That was another creative work of his soul. Anyways, let me just digress back to the original point. This guy wrote a book, was a bestseller, sold all over the world. He made $500,000. Good. That is a sign that everything is good and right in America. You created something out of your soul. You were able to peddle it. People evidently, there was a market for it. Good. I don't like the contents of the book. I would never buy it myself. But hey, good on you, man. Whatever. There's a lot of products out there that I would never buy simply because I don't need them or I despise them. Like Burger King hamburgers. I wouldn't buy it, but I'm good for you, But keep in mind, this is the guy that has nearly $20 million donated to him. And he's far and away out in front of every other Democrat who's running for president. The guy who's talking about socialism, who is himself a millionaire. And, he was talking about releasing his tax records. Like, yeah, let's see them. I don't want to see last year's Bernie. I want to see them all. I want to know if anybody, if any corporation, if any lobbyist paid any of your bills. I want to see receipts for dinner. I want to see how many dinners you were treated to. I want to see how many flights you were treated to. Because all that stuff goes down as income. Somebody buys you a flight, well, that's money that you didn't have to spend. It's the same thing as you spending it, only it didn't actually come out of your ass, It's the same thing as income. It's a gift. When you fill out your taxes, that's a gift. If you got gifted, a lot of that stuff doesn't have to be reported, but I want to see it. I want to see where your money went. I want to see who gave you money. Because you're a millionaire. You're a multi-millionaire who flies privately. And you didn't get that, $500,000 is a lot of money, but it's not really a lot of money. It's not flying private for a full year money. It's $500,000 is a house. A house, a fairly nice house. Not a fantastic house, but just a nice house. A decent house in a good neighborhood with good schools. You don't have all that stuff. Anyways, he's the front runner. He's number one. And he is the most like us. He's an entrepreneur who created a work of his own soul, of his own mind, and became, acquired a certain amount of wealth. So he's the closest thing that the Democrats have to a capitalist, a free market guy. He wrote a book. He put it out on the free market. He collected a bunch of money. Good. That's good. Everything that's good and right in the universe, and he's the socialist. This is the backwards clown world, age of shadows that we are living in. Clown world. The number one contender for the seat of power, according to the Democrats, is a wealthy socialist. It's backwards. This guy's a lunatic. They were just bragging. Him and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez went down to Wichita, Kansas. And they were so happy to brag that they had 5,000 working people with jobs. They made sure to make this point, which is funny. 5,000 people showed up to their little conference in the middle of the day. And they're like, see, we're in Trump territory. That was their big thing. You don't think we can get into Trump's wheelhouse? Look at us. We're in Wichita, Kansas, in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. Or it may have even been Monday, but on a weekday. It's like, listen, lady. No. There's no, okay, listen. You cannot, all right, under the law, and I'm not really familiar as far as how this law varies from state to state, but legally, you can go to your employer on voting day. You can go to your employer and say, listen to me, I'm going to go vote now. So I'm going to leave work and I'm going to go vote. And that employer cannot legally fire you for that. Because it's your right to vote. It is not, however, your right to go to your employer and say, hey, listen, man, I really dig Bernie, right? And I really want to hear what he has to say. I can't wait till tonight. I can't DVR it, man. I have to hear it from the horse's mouth. I'm leaving work now for the rest of the day. I'm going to go chill out. Listen to my comrades. It's like, no, you're fired. Going to a rally is not protected. You know what I mean? So when these two knuckleheads get out there and brag about, oh, we had 5,000 people who all these people have jobs. These are good salt of the earth people. They all have jobs, and they walked away from their job. No, they didn't. Pete, how can you know that? Do you have a job? Do you have a job? Okay, do you think it would ever occur to you if Donald Trump was coming to town? Right? You work where you work. Donald Trump, it's been known for weeks that he's coming to your town, man. And you really want to go see him because those rallies are they're like Guns N' Roses concerts. Motley Crue, Metallica, U2. It's a lot of damn people, man, and they're all in a good mood. Everybody there is happy. It's 50,000 of them. You want to go so bad. But think about it. Just you. You're a working person, right? You've got stuff you gotta do. Yes, it would be great to go see Donald Trump. However, it would also be great. It would be even more great if you could pay your electricity bill. One of those two things is going to give you money. And spoiler alert, it's not Donald Trump at his rally. It's your worthy patron, your boss, your client, whatever. They're going to give you money for the work that you're not going to leave. Furthermore, if you have an employer, it would never occur to you, listen, you're not going to go to your employer and say, listen, I'm taking the rest of the day off. I'm going to go to the Trump rally, which is at noon on a weekday. No. There's a very good reason why Donald Trump either shows up to his rallies either on weekends or at night. These people had Bernie Sanders, the socialist, and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is the freshest of the freshman congresspeople. She's the newest. She has absolutely no business doing anything outside of her little tiny district in New York City. She, of the 5 boroughs she lives in, she represents one of them. She represents this little tiny thing, and she's brand new to the job. She has no business being in Wichita, Kansas, with this old balloon head. Oh, I wrote a book, and if you want $500,000, you should cultivate your entrepreneurial spirit and make some creative work, just like I did, comrades. By the way, rich people, millionaires, they're evil. But unless it's me. She has no business being there, but they go on to boast. Oh man, look at these hardworking, all-employed people. Like, they really had to go out of their way. All of these people are employed, by the way. These people are definitely not freeloaders who are sitting around, have taken a break away from today's episode of the Jerry Springer Show to come down and see us. No, these are all working people. Of course they are. All 5,000 of these people. And by the way, just so you know, even Donald Trump rallies, well, not so much Donald Trump rallies, because now whenever he has a rally, there's a line around the corner of people who can't get in because the place is packed. But it's common practice to, sort of embellish on the crowd size. So by 5,000 people, you really mean something else. But anyways, you're telling me that 5,000 people with jobs. If you told me 4 people with jobs left, I would be like, okay, all right, they must have a pretty cool employer. You didn't convince 5,000 people of Wichita, Kansas. Wichita is not New York, Los Angeles, Seattle. 5,000 people is a lot of people for Wichita. You didn't convince 5,000 people who are so concerned about American politics that they risked their employment status to come and see you. That did not happen. And why are you there at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? You have done literally no part of your job. You have not submitted new legislation. You have not signed into law legislation. You've not written legislation. You've not done anything. You just got to your job representing such and such a district in the 5 boroughs. Why are you in Kansas? There is no purpose for my congressman, Duncan Hunter of San Diego. There is no purpose for my congressman, who is a senior Republican. He's been there for years. If you see him in Kansas, if you see him in Oklahoma, Todd, you call me right away. Because he has no business being there. He doesn't represent you. He doesn't need to be there. There's nothing, unless he's there for barbecue, he's got no reason to be there. He doesn't represent you. He represents me. And nobody, I don't know, nobody's going to call this out anyways. It's funny. So it's Bernie Sanders, the millionaire socialist. The millionaire socialist. How many times am I going to say that over the next, 12 months? Millionaire socialist. It's like Stalin, man. Stalin was a wealthy socialist. Karl Marx, who wrote a pamphlet, he mooched off of his friend Engels, who was a rich kid. It's just funny. It's funny how these people, they can't see it. Okay, so millionaires are the problem. We're all being victimized by this greedy class of people called millionaires. They're evil because they're rich. They're hoarding, don't you know? They didn't get that way by hard work. They got it from stealing from you. And one of the evil capitalist dog millionaires is running for president promoting socialism. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. Amazement. Amazement where, amazement is like when you look at a thing and you're like, wow, but with fear, like, wow, my God, this meteor is coming crashing towards Earth and I'm standing right underneath it. Wow. It's like there's a lot of people who listen to Bernie Sanders. Wow, he's a millionaire socialist. He's a guy going around telling people that millionaires are the evil priests of the satanic cult. And they're evil. And we got to get rid of them, man. We got to take their money. Because they've been holding back. That's why you can't afford, breast augmentation surgery. That's why, I can't afford, well, I was going to make a dirty joke, but I'm not going to. All the things that are painful to you in your life, man, it's because of people like Bernie Sanders, millionaires. I mean, people like, the Koch brothers. Certainly not me. I've got millions of dollars, but I'm the good guy. It's amazing. It would be like if somebody was, famous for, I don't know, teaching people to be vegans. And yet they had no qualms about going on TV and eating a steak. I mean, like, well, listen, I'm right about the vegan thing. You need vegetables. Oh, even the Bible says that prior to Noah's flood, everybody just ate vegetables and fruits. It's like, all right. Then why are you eating steak? Well, this is what I do. It's, you know what I mean? Like if there was a famous, like a Tony Robbins of veganism, or you know what else it's like? Rich pastors, rich ministers. Let me tell you something. You can get very wealthy in ministry, right? There's a couple of ways to do it. And one of them is do what Francis Chan did and, write a book, a bestseller, make pretty good money. And then, if your book does well, then you can go on tour and you get honorariums and speaking fees and whatnot. Nothing. I have absolutely no problem with any of that. But the other way is you have to build a church. But it's not that easy, right? You have to build a church, and then you have to get a bunch of people in it. And if that's not hard enough, is that you have to pervert the entire content of the Bible to preach one message, and that is Jesus Christ allowed himself to be murdered and was resurrected once again so that you could have lots of whatever the currency of your particular nation is. Not easy. Right? There's a lot of perversion that has to go on to get that to happen. And then finally, the punchline of every one of your jokes, the snapshot of every one of your sermons has to be, if you give me money, God will make you rich. It's one of the most baffling, if you really look at what's going on, when you look at guys like Joel Osteen, and then I use that because it's an easy example, but every city in every state in the country has at least one. In fact, there's more than one in every city, but there's a lot, and that's when you look at these guys, it's like, wait a minute. There's a flaw here. You're saying that God's gonna make me rich if I give you money. It's amazing. That's what Bernie Sanders is to me. He's like a faith teacher. He's like a prosperity gospel. If you want to be financially secure, make me president and give me all your money. It's amazing. I look at Bernie Sanders and all I see is Creflo Dollar. Joel Osteen and, the people in my town that were like that, and the people that are in your town who and I've never heard of, but, and I've heard of a lot of them. And who are these other contenders? Well, Beto O'Rourke, watch me skateboard. I'm a middle-aged man, watch me skateboard. I married the heiress of a fortune, and my father was a judge, and my mother was a blah, blah, this guy's amazing. It's amazing. Amazing. This guy has felonies on his record, like breaking and entering, driving, DUI. His parents have had some very serious allegations put on them. Very serious allegations. I'm not going to get it. Well, there was the one where this one sheriff of his town, where like his dad was a judge, they found cocaine in his car, and then all of a sudden the story just went away. And it was alleged that like his father or his mother, because his mother's like a big shot lawyer too or something like that. Back then, when it happened, they alleged like, oh no, it's the O'Rourke family. They did this. These are powerful people. And here's this guy, Robert Francis O'Rourke, and he's up there talking about, watch me skateboard. The Green New Deal is awesome. We need to tear down the walls that we've built and just let these invaders keep coming in. And he's been pushed aside. All right, so Beto O'Rourke, who could not win a Senate seat against Ted Cruz. He lost. And what is his punishment for losing? Living in the everybody gets a trophy age, he gets to run for president. That's his punishment. The Democrat National Committee, is it a committee or convention? The DNC has said, Robert Francis, we are so disappointed in you for losing the race against Ted Cruz, where he had like $20 million, didn't he? I mean, he had an ungodly, an obscene amount of money, which he spent, and he still failed to pull out the victory. And what does the DNC do? Oh, right this way, Mr. O'Rourke. We want you to lead the country. We want you to try to lead the country. Well, he's been pushed aside. Right? 2 weeks ago, he was the media darling. And now he's been pushed out. He's been shoved back into his locker. Relegated to obscurity because of one Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete. Fire Pete. You can't fire Pete. Remember anybody? 30 Rock pilot. Season 1, episode 1, the pilot. Fire Pete. So Mayor Pete, a gay dude. Now forget the fact that, I just learned this today. He's actually a veteran of some military branch. I didn't know that. Because the media never told me that. Because CNN never told me that. Because the only thing CNN has told me, and the only thing Fox News or the Young Turks or anybody has told me, is that his primary qualification, his resume, the thing that makes him the most quality, the most sober-minded, whatever, the most presidential, is the fact that he allows another man to put his genitalia in his anus. Or vice versa, or both. That's literally where we're at as a nation. Mayor Pete is a gay man, and therefore he must be president. Well, I'm sorry, Mayor Pete, but you have not yet procreated, and therefore when you die, your line dies. Because of your choices in life. Because of the temptations that you were not strong enough to stand against. Your line will end. And the name of Buttigieg will be no more in the earth. I mean, you can certainly turn it around, but as it stands right now, you seem fairly locked into your decision. You married a man. And this is what the left, this is what the progressives are saying. This is why this man needs to lead the country. The same bill of goods was sold to us in 2006 and 2007. When the DNC decided that they were going to run a junior senator from Chicago. A junior senator from the state of Illinois. Right? And nobody said anything. Nobody said, wait a minute, this guy's a junior senator. They said, oh, no. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he has very little experience doing anything whatsoever. It doesn't matter that he loves Saul Alinsky. It doesn't matter that there's a number of really creepy allegations surrounding this dude. It doesn't matter that there was a guy, when he was senator, who was on a number of press conferences and rooms full of people where this guy said in a very articulate manner that he had filleted after smoking crack cocaine with then Senator Obama, that he and Senator Obama smoked crack cocaine in the back of a limousine, and then he sucked him off. And then that guy who was telling his story mysteriously ended up dead. Amongst others, right? A junior senator ran for president. What was his qualification? Well, he was black. Kind of. Why should we vote for this guy? He's a junior senator. He doesn't know anything. Well, he's black, don't you know? Right? Now they're running Pete Buttigieg. Nobody can even pronounce his name. It's impossible. It's like Rumpelstiltskin. You're never going to get it right. What's his qualification? He does butt stuff. What is his qualification? Now, I'm sorry to gross you out. I know some of you listen first thing in the morning on your way to work. But let me just make sure that this is clear in your mind, that this is who we're talking. Because there's been a lot of over exuberance to be accepting of other people's lives, right? Which I think that that's a good thing. It's like, hey man, look, I don't know what you're going through as a man. I don't know what you're going through. And so I'm going to be real careful about the things that I say. You know, I'm going to try not to be too judgmental because I don't know, you're a man. Being a man is hard. It's difficult work. I don't know what you're going through. So I don't want to be... But there's been like this thing to be like overly accepting, like to the point of like embracing. Acceptance and embracement are two totally different things. And we're being told that we must not accept but embrace homosexuality. Let me explain this to you. Pete Buttigieg is a dude who, no matter how long you think the earth and mankind's evolution has taken, or since the point of creation, right? Some people say 7,000 years. Other people say 500 billion years, right? But no matter what you think, it's a very long time. And since we can only go back 7,000 years in the oldest written document that we have as a species is thought to be, between 5 and 8,000 years, right? Let's just call it 7,000 years. If you believe that mankind is only 7,000 years, that's 7,000 years of history that we know of, because that's provable history. History that we have proof of. Written proof from other human beings. 7,000 years it took of DNA sequencing, right? Man marries a woman, they have a baby. That baby grows up, meets a girl, has 5 babies of his own. Those 5 babies grow up and they each have 3 babies of their own. You know what I mean? Like on and on and on. 7,000 years. It took 7,000 years of DNA sequencing to produce one Peter Buttigieg. It's a lot of work. And if he does not procreate, that 7,000 year line of history ends with him. It's over. He's dead. The true death. Like the big one. Like someday I'm going to die. Right? This Saturday I turned 46. And you can send birthday money to paypal.me/archavocate. If you want to support the show, paypal.me/archavocate. I'm going to die someday. And according to the table, right? According to the actuarial table, I'm going to die in less than 30 years. I'm going to die at the age of 72. I have less than 30 years. But when I die, my sons and their children will live on. My DNA will live on through them. And my story is allowed to continue. By the grace of God. Pete Buttigieg, when he dies, it ends. All of that world history. And if you're an atheist or a guy who thinks that science is a religion and that's all you believe in, then 500 billion years of history ends with him. But this is his qualification because he's gay. Because he takes it in the pooper. Or he puts it in the pooper. Or both. We don't know. What we do know is this. This is the thing. Like, instead of embracing this, it's like, look, here's the thing. Don't embrace it. That guy's going to die in a very final way. An unrecoverable way. Also, this is another thing. This is why it's like, dude, no, I'm not going to embrace you. You're not equal to me. You know what I mean? We all have temptations in life. We all, you know what I mean? Drugs, alcohol, gambling, rage, different sexual things, like everybody's got their kink. We all have things, greed, lust, pride, envy, sloth, you know what I mean? Like we all have things that we have to deny. We all have things that are tempting us. Thank God, thank God I didn't get that one. Listen, I'm constantly like, if I could do drugs, I would. You know what I mean? Like if I felt like, the temptation, if it wasn't a temptation, but it was like a right that like God wanted me to do that, like I would. But I know, no, that's a temptation. I have to stay away from it. I have to stay away from chemically altered states. And it's not always easy for me because when I grew up, I used to smoke pot and do drugs and go surfing, whatever. We all have temptations to resist. And you become better as a man when you resist those temptations. Most men are tempted to cheat on their spouses, but they don't because that's what it is. It's a temptation. And you don't see those people standing up saying, well, listen, man, I was just born this way. Obviously, I was born this way because it was already in me. I didn't know that I was going to want to screw other women when I married this woman. No, it's a temptation. We resist it. It's a temptation that is tied to one of our basic biological drives. We don't stand up and make excuses and say, well, since I was born this way, I have the right to just go screw any woman I want. No, it's a temptation. We resist it. Mayor Pete did not resist it. And he will pay the price. He's going to have to wear Depends undergarments when his anus falls out of his backside. And he can't hold his poop in his body anymore. Like that's something that gay people face. It's like things are meant to work a certain way, and your butthole is not meant to. It's meant for output only. And then when he dies, it will be the end of his line. His bloodline will end when he dies. What a shame! Took a lot of work to produce that guy. But because he had no discipline, because he has no religion, because he does not know God, he will die in a very final way. In a very humiliating way. Furthermore, let me just, again, it's like, look, accepting and embracing are two different things. Yeah, I accept, like, that's your thing, and I can see, like, you you have no interest in denying your temptations. Okay, all right, I mean, you can't be around my family, but I can do business with you. I can drive on the same road as you. I can eat at the same restaurant as you. I accept. I do not embrace. I will never allow my children to be taught that your way of life is acceptable. And furthermore, what you do with your penis and your butthole does not qualify you to represent the United States. That's not you know what I mean? That's not the thing. That guy has no other platform other than he does gay stuff with his ding dong and his poo poo. That's why they're rolling him out in front of everybody. Look at this gay man. You got to go vote for him. Why? Oh, he's gay. It's like, not enough. Because at night, right? See, like me and my wife, you and your wife, right? With normal people, that's right, I said it. With normal people, man and a woman, you have sex, right? Sexy time. Then there's the wet spot, and then you have to be the man, you have to sleep in the wet spot. There's an aroma in the room afterwards. And you'll know this. Like, you don't really notice it at first. It's not till really after you get up and go to the bathroom, get a glass of water, come back in the room, and you're like, oh, yeah, what's that funk in the air? That's the smell of sexy time. You know what I'm talking about. The air is perfumed. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, the same thing happens with gay people. Only the ingredients to their sex smell is poop and blood and cum. Now, you're probably wincing in horror right now after I just said that. That is a fact. If you know what I mean? Like, go ahead. Go ahead, deny it. It's gross. No, he's not going to be the president. Because ultimately, you're going up against Donald Trump, and he's going to be pointing that out. You don't get your qualification for being the leader of the free world is that you take it in your asshole. I don't think that's what the American people want. We didn't even want Donald Trump when he was first given to us. Right? But it's worked out pretty good for us. But he wasn't disqualified based on his sexual dalliances in the past, because it was like, yeah, that's not what he's talking about. Nobody paraded him out. Fox News, all these other people, we didn't parade him out and say, look at this guy. He bangs hot women and he has his entire life. This was not his platform. They didn't run President Trump on the platform of, okay, look at his wife, Melania, she's hot. And you know how he bought the Miss Universe or Miss America pageant? Yeah, he banged all of them. All those girls that you see, he banged them all. Every single one of them, he nailed them. It was never brought up because it's like, yeah, actually, I don't want to think about that man having sex. So they didn't bring it up. This is the destruction of the left. They've got a millionaire socialist and a guy whose only platform is that he takes it in the ass. And Robert Francis O'Rourke, who can skateboard and who literally looks like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. Robert Francis O'Rourke, of course, I'm speaking about. Who else do we have? Oh, that's right. Oh, flat on her back Kamala. Oh, climb the corporate ladder by laying flat on your back and letting gross, disgusting, flabby old men have their way with you. Kamala Harris, who is a time traveler, evidently, because she was smoking pot with the homies when she was in college and rocking out to Biggie and Tupac. Many years before Biggie and Tupac were even old enough to vote. Many years before Biggie and Tupac ever got their first record deal. Many years before Biggie and Tupac ever wrote a single line of poetry. She was rocking out to them. So evidently she is a time traveler. Old time traveler Kamala, they called her. And then we've got Elizabeth Warren. Again, I don't understand how people are, okay. So Elizabeth Warren said that she was Native American and went on TV talking about I'm gonna get me a beer and Meemaw and Peepaw, and I'm Indian. I'm a Native American. Which by itself it would have been like, okay, whatever. Let me explain this to you. Like, I fancy myself a bit of a theologian. I really do. But I've always been open and honest with you and told you I didn't go to college. I did not go to seminary. I did not go to seminary. And although I like to pretend to be a theologian, the fact of the matter is I am not. And the reason I know that I'm not is because I know that I did not attend seminary and complete it. I never graduated a seminary. I know I didn't because I never attended a seminary. So I'm not actually a theologian. I just pretend to be one on a podcast. Right? I'm not a theologian. I just kind of fancy myself because I have weird questions that evidently nobody's ever asked before. About Scripture. And, and there's no harm in that because I've never made any money off of that. I've never deceived people into believing. Now, if I started a church and got a big following and I was telling people, oh yes, I graduated from, as my cousin would say, I graduated Princeton with a PhD in divinity. Like if I was going around doing that, that would be immoral and probably even illegal. Right? So if Elizabeth Warren wants to walk around and tell everybody that she's Native American, even though she's so white that even white people look at her and be like, "Damn, lady, you better put some sunscreen on. You get that kind of complexion, you're gonna burn." Even white people look at her like, "Damn, that's a white ass lady right there." But that's not the problem. The problem is that she got her job at Harvard because she told them that she was Native American. And not only did they buy it, but they doubled down on it. And when she graduated, Harvard said, this is the first female person of color who graduated Harvard or who taught at Harvard or whatever. That's where the problem is. I don't care if you run around calling yourself an Indian, right? Just the same reason I don't have a problem going around calling myself the world's second existential Christian. As I've mentioned before on the podcast. I don't have a problem with that. You can live in your little make-believe land all you want. Just as long as you're not actually lying to people and profiting from it and trading on it. She traded on it. She made applications and said, you need to consider me because of my ethnic status. And I am an Indian. And then she had a blood test and it turns out she is less Native American than like over 90% of everybody who lives in America, including people from other countries. You know what I mean? It's like she has a remarkably low amount of native blood in her. And the native blood that she does has, weren't they saying it's like, man, it kind of looks like this blood may have come from Chile or, someplace on the southern side of the continent on our planet. It's weird. And finally we come to Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell of California. Now, this is the guy who, on a number of occasions, right, he just said on TV, like, in the last couple of days, the Second Amendment is not an absolute right. And he has said on a number of occasions, like, he makes no bones about this, what he wants to do is change gun laws and make it mandatory for you to participate in a gun buyback. And if you don't, you will be in violation of the law and you will be arrested and you will be prosecuted. So what they're saying is we want to write a new law that would make everybody immediately a criminal. and then we want to prosecute the criminals. That's this guy. Now, Eric Swalwell is the poster boy. When you look at that guy's face, that's the date rapist. When they come out with those numbers about rapes on college campuses and all that, it's that guy. It's that face. Matter of fact, I was thinking about this today. I think I'm going to get a kind of an enlarged picture of that guy's face, and I will teach my sons, like when I start teaching my sons to fight, that's the face I'm going to teach them about. Son, when you see this expression on a man's face, that's when you know it's time to go. It's go time. When you see that look, we all know it. We all remember it. I don't know, when does that heart of a bully start? Second grade, third grade, right? So you're 7, 8, 9 years old. That's when the bully starts coming out of some kids, right? That's the look. That look that Eric Swalwell has on his face, that need for power. The need to feel that they have dominated another man. That's the look. That's what Eric Swalwell has on his face. He has no interest in gun violence. He just wants to dominate. He wants power. He wants to rape other men to show that he is dominant. That's the only reason why. You can see it on his face. Because we've all seen that look. We've seen it on many different men's faces. That look. And I will teach my sons, when you see that look on another man's face, on another kid on the playground's face, as they start pushing around other kids, son, if you go up to that kid and you punch him as hard as you can, right, either on the right side or the left side of the jaw, and you have to take that jaw and you have to push that jaw into the tags on the back of his shirt. That's what you're aiming for. Once you connect with that jaw, you then have to proceed with the punch. You have to keep pushing with your fist and try to push his jaw through the back of his head and try to hit your knuckles on the tag on the back of his shirt. When you throw that punch and you connect with his jaw, you need to hit that jaw, but what you're really aiming for is the tag on the back of his shirt. You have to push his jaw through the back of his head, and if you do that, son, and there's a lot of factors that go into that. He's going to be moving, you're going to be nervous, and there's going to be a bunch of things, but if you can accomplish that punch, that kid is going to fall down flat on the ground. And then he's going to be quite dizzy. He's not going to be able to get back up and be effective immediately. And if he does jump back up, just trust me, you can wail on him for a good 30 seconds because his bell's been rung. He's not going to be seeing straight. And you knock the shit out of that kid, and the next 10 years of your life will be a W. It'll be in the win column. Everybody that knows you will remember that day when you knocked that guy out, and nobody will mess with you. So long as you don't become a bully. So long as you don't take on that face. Everybody, you know what I mean? Nobody will forget not to mess with the Dobson boys. And I'll show them a picture of Eric Swalwell and say, that's the look. That's the look. When you see that on the playground, even if he's not bothering you, you run up to that man and you cram his jaw into the back of his collar. And you let everybody know that we don't stand for this. We don't stand for bullies. We don't stand for rapists. We kick the shit out of these people. It's amazing. The 2020 race, it's amazing who these people are. You've got a millionaire communist, a butt fucker, an Indian, Pocahontas. You've got Eric Swalwell, Kamala Harris, you've got I am Sparticus, Cory Booker, who was just recently on the news talking about like, oh, we can't have these filthy Mexicans in our town. It would be dangerous. You've got Watch Me Skateboard O'Rourke. This is who the Democrats are now. And what's even more, I don't know, perfect, is that they're finally doing it to themselves. They've run out of gas with the president. And almost at exactly the same time that the whole Russia conspiracy theory has ended, it's at the same time where Nancy Pelosi, who is third in line for the presidency, right? If Trump and Pence both get in an airplane crash on the same day, Nancy Pelosi becomes the leader of the free world. And she is the president of the Democrat Party. And she is having to answer questions about the infighting in her own party. It's wonderful to watch. So now they are spending a great deal of money and power and attention fighting one another. As the number of registered Democrats dwindles. Now these people probably won't be voting for Trump. They still hate Trump, but they're not going to be voting for Democrats. Who are they going to vote for? You think they're going to vote for Bernie Sanders, old wet mouth himself? Right? You think, is that what they're going to do? He's part of the Democrat Party. He's part of the group of people who were apologizing for the Democrat Party when they screwed Bernie Sanders out of the nomination. He's part of the apologetics crew of those people. You think the Democrats, you think these people who are dropping, who aren't going to be voting Democrat, or I mean, they're changing their voter registration. They're being disillusioned. They're seeing the hypocrisy. They're seeing the Jussie Smollett, and they're seeing the Russia collusion hoax, and they're seeing all the hypocrisy coming out of the Democrat Party. You think they're going to vote for Bernie Sanders? He's the guy who sued the Democrat Party and won for screwing him out of the election. And then he comes back and asks for more. He says, no, these people are legit, man. Vote for me. I'm a Democrat. Yeah. Yeah, Bernie, you don't have an optics problem there at all. Anyways, that's the show for today. Please support the show by hitting subscribe and sending money. Owen Benjamin, they just took down his PayPal. PayPal just cut him off. It's happening, people. Send money while you can. PayPal.me/archadvocate until I find another avenue. PayPal.me/archadvocate. Thank you very much, and let me read you your daily devotional, and then I'll let you go. April 17th. I am training you in steadfastness. Too many things interrupt your awareness of me. I know that you live in a world of sight and sound, but you must not be a slave to those stimuli. Awareness of me can continue in all circumstances, no matter what happens. This is the steadiness I desire for you. Don't let unexpected events throw you off course. Rather, respond calmly and confidently, remembering that I am with you. As soon as something grabs your attention, talk with me about it. Thus I share your joys and your problems. I help you cope with whatever is before you. This is how I live in you and work through you. This is the way of peace. That's from a devotional book called Jesus Calling, written by Sarah Young, a longtime missionary. We'll talk to you tomorrow, being Thursday, April 18th. Later.